against or for the gun control. Like people. You know how many people died in Chicago over the weekend?
Exactly.
More than people that were shot up at those places. And I'm just saying, like, not trying to justify it, but I'm just saying it's so politicalized. It's political.
And the great thing about, well, not the great thing, the ironic thing about the shootings in Chicago, it was down from the amount of deaths that happened 1 year ago that weekend in Chicago. But it was still, like, I think 17 people were killed in Chicago over that weekend as well. And that's just a normal weekend, it seems. In the summertime.
Where are people's outcry for that?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. It's
hard
silly.
to not be apathetic, because as soon as you start being concerned about one shooting, 8 more come up. So where do we put our attention to? Like, feeling, okay, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened in El Paso. 12 hours later, oh my God, I can't believe this happened in El Paso and Daytona. Oh my God, I can't believe this happened in California as well. I mean, somebody went on a stabbing spree earlier this weekend in California. I mean, it's constantly on the news. That if you care, it takes so much out of you that we become apathetic, I believe. And, with the younger generation and like, oh, these damn millennials. Well, look at what they have to, what they're coming up upon. A world that's a disaster. They
booty
try to
shorts.
Booty shorts galore, which Corey has a problem with. His Mormon ways can't come out when he's looking at more booty shorts. But in all joking aside, it's a traumatic time in this world, and it seems even more traumatized because of the drama that's put behind it, because it is politicized. It's either you're this way or you're that way. You're black or white. There's no gray area. But there is so much gray area that, and people with social media, there is a hindrance to it because everybody knows everything that's going on, but it also gives people a voice to be able to say, hey, this is what's going on, and I don't like it, and talk about solutions. Yeah, that little child in the corner definitely feels the way I do, so go little kid.
So do you think...
More power.
I mean, in 10 years, in 5 years, we don't know what the new thing's going to be that people are doing to, escape reality and to, escape the trauma. So do you see it getting worse, or do you think...
I don't know. I think that there's so much awareness out now, and, all this funding has come for the opiate epidemic, and they're realizing, hey, there's a lot of other people affected by drugs and alcohol that aren't opiates. So it's showing, that there is this life that people are recovering from, and people are coming through those addictions. So the funding is there, and, so for the first time, this is being addressed, like a peer recovery coach. I qualified for the job because I spent 10 long years in addiction, in active addiction. Therefore, I qualified to be a peer recovery coach. I mean, through the training and whatnot, but it's that lived experience.
Right.
It talks about it in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I think it's the basis for almost every recovery group since then, that it's one alcoholic to another to help them grow. And that's how it is, a collective group of people with one common purpose. And, from SMART to Celebrate Recovery to you have women in recovery, you have yoga for recovery, you have the medicine wheel, you have all these different, but it's peers helping each other because we understand. And I know I had a counselor before and I loved her, but she said, I've learned more about addiction from you than I've ever learned anywhere else. I'm like, well, that's great, but I'm not here to educate you. So now you have people that are peers that understand this, and it can help communicate the message to, having the person, like your recovery, or your client, who is recovering from, let's say, it's opiate addiction. Well, I can understand what that feels like, what it looks like. I understand that lived experience that maybe the doctor doesn't understand or the nurse doesn't understand. So I can help be a translator for the doctor saying this is what's going on because this is the same thinking patterns. But then I can also advocate for the doctors back to the client saying this is why they're doing it this way. It's because this is the proof that it works. So it's like you're a conduit of information because you can help translate. You know how to work in the professional realm, but you also know what recovery feels like, what addiction feels like, and what recovery looks like.
Because if somebody comes in and they only speak Spanish, and you're trying to talk, that's why they have a little chart. How you feel? Which one? The pain face? Which level are you?
Yeah.
That's why they have that.
Yeah.
And it should be the same for, people in addiction. Okay, well, how you? Because the nurse, okay, and this is just an example, throwing it out there, like, somebody comes in and the nurse is like, oh, my stepdad was alcoholic, and he drank and he beat my mom, and I hate all alcoholics. I'm gonna not give this guy and that stuff I'm sure happens all across the country, and that, or it could work the other way, with the different drugs even, and maybe they had a drunk guy come in, or somebody that was tripping or whatever, just be such an a-hole that they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. But where we can come in, and we're not trying to save them there at that moment, but we're just trying to relate to them and let them know, hey, look, there is a better life, there is a better way, and it gets so much better. But we're going to have to face some things. We're going to have to go through some challenges. It is a long journey. It's a journey that really doesn't end. But as long as you keep on the right path and keep doing the right things, it does get better. It really does. And in that moment, when they're in the hospital, is a perfect time, because they're in a safe spot. They can breathe, and there are things that can be given to where they're not needing to get sick. Now, for me, in alcohol, there was nothing they could give me. There was nothing they gave me that made me feel any better. I had to sit there in this uncomfortable bed where an hour felt like a day. It was so long, and then being handcuffed to that damn bed, it was horrible. That was not fun. But I didn't want to do it again. It's just to the point where, they threw me back in jail, so I didn't have to. But if I would have got out, well, I did. The one time I got out and I went right back. But it was hell, man. It really was. And I don't want to do it again. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about that and how harm reduction, you can go there and get needles. And he was like, whoa. And I was like, no, it's better than them going, because never, ever, not one time did somebody who is hooked on heroin thought, I'm not going to shoot up today because that needle's not clean. Not one time ever.
No.
Not one time. But if there's a place they can go get a clean needle, that's fine. Then that, cuts down on the spread of Hep C, which costs taxpayers or whatever, if you want to throw it in that way, like $800,000 per person just to cure the Hep C. Like that is a lot of money. You're talking almost $1 million per person. If you can get them to use a clean needle, and they're going to a place to get the clean needle that has things on the wall, about, hey, need help. If you want to talk to somebody there, they will get you to the right people. It has to get to the same point where we're just like, I'm tired of this. I know it does. I've talked to people who use, and they just say once they get the one fix, well, guess what? That's when it's time to go get the other one. It's a never-ending process, and that is tiring. That is
exhausting.
It's just going to be horrible. And I remember being hungover the next morning, thinking I'm not drinking today, and then I realized, oh, yes, I am, because I want to stop shaking. And I don't want to feel this way. And I will not go to class. I will not go to my job because I have to stop these shakes first. And it's just embarrassing. It's just a cycle that once it starts, I can't stop until I'm in the hospital laying on that uncomfortable bed thinking, God, why did this have to happen again?
Understandably.
It's horrible.
Well, and that's what's kind of what's happening, too, is peer recovery coaches are getting hired in the emergency rooms. There was one program, Project Assert. I don't think that is up here in northern Michigan. It's more lower Michigan, but it's peer recovery coaches trained to be in the ER, so when somebody comes in, it's not the doctor just saying, well, you're seeking drugs, I'm going to kick you out. Have somebody that, doing an assessment and being able to talk to the person. And it does help because that's the front lines. The ER, especially for drugs, too, that's the front line. You're having people coming in that want drugs. You have people coming in that are overdosing from drugs. So that's a great time to say, hey, this doesn't have to be the way. But I like the point you touched upon, Corey, that, my recovery is abstinence. That's my recovery. But not everybody's recovery harm reduction is part of that. Like, people not, like, the drugs being heroin, like, not shooting up heroin anymore, they still drink. Like, recovery is what you say it is. Your recovery is what you say it is. And harm reduction is a big part of that. you're right. There's never been a time when someone's like, well, I'm not going to shoot up this heroin because this needle isn't. I don't know of any of those yet. There could be. I'm just speaking from my experience. But you're right. Like, people going to get clean needles. Like in Switzerland, I can't remember the statistics on it, but in Switzerland, they have the legalization of like almost every drug. I think it's Switzerland and Portugal. I believe this case is out of Switzerland. Like, the clinics that they gave away had methadone and heroin for free and clean needles, and it was a safe injection site. They found that after a year, a lot of those people, like 52%, started seeking recovery because they were put in a position where they came to the spot, but then recovery was also given as an option, and they had counselors to talk through people with them. That it's about the communication. And if you're getting dope from your drug dealer on the street going to some flop house, there's not going to be people really talking about recovery in there.
Right.
But if you're going to a clinic to pick up, so it's clean heroin. It's not fentanyl laced.
Right.
Same with the methadone, and then you have clean needles, and you have saline to wash with. You're not only not spreading the diseases, but the people there can say, this doesn't have to be your only way.
Right.
And start introducing different types of, recovery options for the person.
Right. Because if it were the same for alcohol, and you had to go out and find your alcohol, and it was in pond water, and well, you could get some kind of crazy worm or whatever. Yes. You would drink it anyway.
Yes.
If you're that bad and that sick, I've been in those hospital beds. If you'd have been like, "Hey, drink this pond water," catch you right back up, I'd be like, "Give me that pond water."
Yes.
But this could be sick, and you could. I don't care, man. Give it to me right now.
Yes.
I tried going without the pond. I just need it. And it's the same. It really is. So, but ours is right there at the store.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
it was. I know, like, I was addicted to opiates, and that scared me. But I knew that I hadn't gone to the point yet where I was seeking street drugs or heroin. I mean, I had doctors. I was one bad doctor's appointment away from that happening. However, when I realized that alcohol had such a grip on me, that scared me more than anything because I could get it anywhere. And the first 30 days I was in recovery, I would go to a gas station that was 25 miles out of the way because they didn't serve alcohol there. Like, even the Dollar Generals and Family Dollars were selling alcohol. And there's one gas station, so I drove up there to get my smokes because I couldn't, it was everywhere. And I couldn't say no. That's how it was for me. But you're right. Like, even if there was a flesh-eating virus in there, I'd be like, I don't care.
Okay, give it to me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it gets so bad. Like,
yes.
It's really bad. Well, we are just about out of time,
Aww.
Laura. Well, you'll have to come back and we'll have to do it again, and you can buy us pizza.
No.
Okay, then we'll buy you pizza again.
Okay.
But no, thank you for driving from Frankenberger, Williams. That's what I said, Frankfurt.
Something in there.
Okay. All right. Well, you go talk smack to cats. She does that. She yells at cats.
I do.
So I don't know what her deal is. I mean, can we really trust her? I don't know. I mean, who doesn't like cats? It's kind of probably like Ryan. She doesn't like babies either. Ryan, he doesn't like babies. You want to say anything, Ryan?
He was me mugging that baby.
Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, babies.
He's like, hey, baby.
It's like, I hate babies.
I hate you, baby.
I mean, I still like Ryan, so it doesn't matter, but...
Dad all the way.
Don't bring your kids around.
Babies.
You want to say anything, Ryan?
Bye, everybody. I'm not a baby hater.
What's he saying? I don't even know. Why would he even bring up baby
hating? Why would you bring up baby hating?
You know who brings up baby hating? People who hate babies. Yeah, I'm not a liar. Let me tell you about it. I'm telling the truth. All right. Thanks for listening. 217recovery.com if you need more info. And if you need resources, that's there too from Recov Hub. That'll send you to the rehab places near you. They'll tell you if they have any beds. And you can also check out local resources as well, whether it be, you need a counselor, you need someone to talk to. Maybe you want to find harm reduction. We got a link to them as well under resources, 217recovery.com. And yeah, that does it. So if you haven't listened to any other episode, you need to start today. Obviously, you listen to this one all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. So listen to the other ones. Get them on many platforms. Okay. For Ryan, for Laura,
you.
And for Matt, sleep. I'm Corey.